Hello everyone, this video is entitled Should You Start a Fruit Festival? And I'd like to share with you my thoughts on that as someone that has ran a fruit festival for coming up to 12, for 12 years, but coming up for 12 events. And I think that I would humbly suggest one of the most successful ones, one of the best ones that has existed and had a lot of good success in you know the the feedback we've got from people. Most importantly, the feedback that we've got, people have had a great time, they love the event, they want it to continue and all that kind of stuff. So that's UK Fruit Fest. We have a limited amount of spaces left for this year. If you're interested in coming, I will probably put a link below so that you can learn more about that. But should you start a fruit festival where you are, well, let me give you a little bit of a background of all this if I can, if you don't mind. So there was, um, let's go back to veganism, vegetarianism. The birth of veganism, vegetarianism in, say, Europe and the US and places like that. Part of that was stimulated by essentially societies. So these societies were formed. What is a society? A society is like a kind of a club that people join. It's just like a thing that people join where there's some kind of similar interest or similar thing gathering people together. So if you happen to be a vegetarian, you might have joined the vegetarian society or so on. And it would have been something that you would have, the membership would have been probably a pretty low cost. And along with the membership, you might have got something like a newsletter and, you know, something simple like that. You might have got some information or whatever. So societies naturally formed where people wanted to meet other people, I suppose, that were doing this, and also wanted to congregate together to do that. So you had a society in the UK, you had one in the US, I'm sure. You had them all over the place, right? So the vegan or vegetarian started off vegetarian, I think. Um, Although back in the day, they might have even been fruitarian, because fruitarian didn't mean just fruit way back in the day. But um, so you had these societies that developed, and they usually had something like a newsletter or a periodical or a magazine, right? So they'd have something like that people would get, and these societies over time would probably have like gatherings and dinners and different little events they would do. And then once these things had grown to a particular size, maybe they had tons and tons of people now in the society, like tens of thousands of members in a country, then they might do something like a festival or like a bigger event, a boot camp, a summer camp, quite naturally. And that's not just in sort of societies, but in big organizations, in churches, and everything. That in martial arts clubs, like the idea of like a big summer event is quite a natural thing, especially for our climate and everything. It's the time of year that's the best, and for weather, everyone gets together, has a celebration, and has a big seminar, big class, big party, big whatever. So it's just the natural way that people gather as communities, as groups, um, as special interest groups, sort of thing. And the fruit festivals are emulating the summer boot camp. You know what I mean? Like that's kind of what they are. They're that summer boot camp gathering thing, generally. But the problem with the fruit festivals has been that there's not all of the other stuff that leads up to that. So the fruit festivals have been our desire to have the summer camp gathering, the fun thing, without really having the society, the without having created the community properly, the society, the community, the membership group, everything. Now, there is a raw vegan community out there. There are tons of people now that are eating more fruit, that are eating a high fruit diet, that are very close to Raw or on Raw or doing Raw or whatever. There's a lot of people out there doing that. Across the world, maybe in the millions. You might think, no way, but there's 7 billion people in the world. Like, so are there in the millions of people who are somewheres towards a raw foods diet, whether they're not 100% raw or not, but they're like really keen or interested in it? Probably in the millions. Probably. Now, you would maybe think then that there's millions of those people, and therefore, when someone starts a fruit festival or raw food event, there's millions of those people interested, so those events will do really well because there's very few of them. But what I've learned over the years is that's not really the case. That doesn't appear to happen. So people start these events in different countries, and there's definitely people in those countries that are interested enough for those events to be relevant to. But the events don't have like a powerful or monopolistic effect on the raw food community. So the raw food community doesn't go, oh, there's only a few of these events, we need to go to them. That's not what happens. The fruit festivals have not really been, like, many of you haven't ever been to one, but many of you have been into raw foods for God knows how long. You've probably been to, like, you went to South America, you went to Thailand, you wasted your time doing all these things, but you've never been to like a good event. You've never really experienced how great this can be, how great this lifestyle can be. So so you've done the wasting time thing, but you've not total waste of money, waste of time. You've done all that stuff, but you've not actually. And there's people that lived in New York that never went to the Woodstock Fruit Festival that were raw food people in New York. That is hard for me to understand. That's hard for me to understand. But I have begun to learn more. It took me a while. I couldn't get it. I couldn't understand why. But I've learned more. I understand more now. And the whole point is that when there was these vegetarian conferences or summer camps, they already had the society. Like, people already were part of it. They were getting the magazine. They were getting the information. They were developing a connection with the group. They were part of it. What we've all rushed to is going, we'll do the festival thing for the group. But they don't feel like we're part of the group. So the festivals have not done well, generally. And what I learned over the years is I had to super learn to do everything for myself, in a sense. I sort of thought I was the guy in the raw foods world going, listen guys, I'll take up the stress and thing of putting on the event, right? For you. So I'll do all that and you'll come, right? And the answer is no, we won't. No, we won't. We're gonna go to Thailand. So you're gonna waste your time in Thailand? Yeah, we're gonna go and waste our time there. So, so that's what people wanted to do. There's still the freedom, the whatever it is of being able to whatever, be on your own in some place, in some boring place. So, so all that, but it's the reverse engineering thing. It's like we've done the last thing first. So if you're thinking of putting on a fruit festival, you're doing the last thing first. You need to build the community first. And if you don't have a community and they don't know who you are, it's not a good idea for you to do a fruit festival. Some of the people that have big followings on, Instagram and stuff, they should maybe consider doing a fruit festival or a bigger event. Maybe not a week-long residential retreat, but with 120 people, which is the pinnacle. Like, this is the best, most fantastic kind of retreat event ever, as far as I can see. But these people are more like money people, like the Instagram people. They're more like, how can I make loads of money right now? I'll sell book that no one reads. That's what they're more about. Like, so, so they're not going to do stuff that's like work and giving back to people. Like they're not that's not the way. And they build a community. They don't really want to meet the community. That's the weird thing as well about social media people. Like a lot of them don't really want to meet the people that are following them. Clearly, because they never do anything. Like they never do any. They don't even do like a meet and greet. Like come to this place near me. Like something simple. They don't do like most of them don't do a local meetup, a dinner party, anything. As far as I can see, don't do anything. So that's all bizarre to me. Because for me, it's always been about that, really. It's about the meeting other people thing. I like the tribe. I like the Rawfoods tribe or the Fruitarian tribe or whatever. So here's what I would say to you. Don't start a fruit festival. And I don't say that because I don't want competition. There's no competition. I'm not really reaching out to the Rawfoods community anymore. I stopped doing that a long time ago. I mostly reach out to just the general public looking for a health retreat. There's a lot of people that are just looking for a health retreat. So I would suggest that what you do is start a potluck or a meetup. That's basically what I would suggest you do, or a dinner party. That's what I suggest. That's what I super suggest that you do. And if you want the festival vibe, go to another festival. Go to an event that's already established. These events are not going to last long, is something I want to say. In terms of fruit festivals and stuff, they're not going to last. They don't really make sense as events. You need to have the society, the community developed, and we've not got that. The reason that Woodstock started and was successful is because there was a big forum called 30 Bananas a Day. That was why Woodstock had 200 people in the first year. They mostly came from 30 Bananas a Day, and to some degree from the various followings of the different influencers, but most of them didn't promote it almost at all. It was 30 Bananas a Day. It was Harley and Freely. It was, to some degree, been people that followed Doug, but a lot of them would have been on 30 Bananas a Day. So they had that. And we've got a little bit of that in UK Fruit Fest. We've got a little bit of a forum, a little bit of this, but it's never been very strong and very active. So what you want to start off with really is do your own meetup. I think it's a better thing to do. I don't even think people should do retreats. I just don't think. And I think people can make money doing these things, but I don't think you should do it. It's just so one-off. It's just like one and done. It's like one night stand. You want long-term relationships. So retreat, do something where you live, in your community, or find a place you want to live and build community. But don't go out there thinking communities in Thailand or Bali. That's the opposite of community. There's a lot of people that ran away from community. They don't know how to deal with community. Same with a lot of social media people. They can't function in community. So that's probably not fair to say. I'm just throwing out random ideas. But what you want to do is start a meetup, potluck, something like that. And it starts small. You might only have one person the first time. You might have no one come the first time. You might ask all your friends and family and relatives and neighbours and no one comes. That's just normal. Don't worry about that. You just keep going. You eventually find people. And that's a good thing to build in your life. A fruit festival. They are great, but we need to build a community. Really, it's for these events are for a well-established big community. It's very hard to make it work otherwise. You have to spend a lot in promoting the event. if you really want to make a fruit festival work, you have to spend a lot, and you're not going to do that. You're not going to spend enough. And there's an event that's doing well right now, but they've essentially taken Woodstock's audience. That's pretty much what's happened. The people that went to Woodstock are like, Woodstock's not happening, let's go to this thing. I think that's pretty much what's happened. So they're doing well as a result of that, but it won't last long, you know. So that's something that I want to say. Start a local potluck. It's free to do. It's easy to do. You don't have to make loads of food for people. You can make it very simple. You could use meetup.com. That's okay. Obviously, you can use Facebook. You can post in your local your vegan forums and all that stuff. And maybe you'll gradually meet a few people, and gradually it'll become something, and you'll become a little bit of a leader in your area or whatever. And if I just focused on that where I am, rather than do the fruit festival, I would be in a totally different, well, I don't know how different my life would be, but I don't know. I think the situation would be a lot cooler where I am. So I've started doing my monthly sort of dinner party thing that I'm doing at the moment. And by the way, you're welcome to come if you live nearby, or if you want to travel here. You're welcome to come and visit for one of my dinner parties or whatever. So it's a very simple thing. And I think it'll fulfill you. The fruit festivals, I don't know. I mean, if you have a real desire to do it, but I don't recommend it. Like, I don't recommend you do it. And if I've been kind of one of the people that's managed to do it without losing tons of money and hating myself every year, which is what some people don't hate themselves, but like people end up losing tons of money. In general, there's been too much in this community of people that had energy and passion and vibrancy and all that stuff, and did events and lost money, and did things and lost money, and worked with people and lost money. And that is a total waste. And worked with people and helped people and didn't make any money. And it's been one of the downfalls of this community. And I don't want to call certain people out, but there's certain people that are just, so many people have stories of losing money or not making money as a result of working with them. And you might think, well, it's not that important to make money. It's about the contribution and all that. And you're right about that, but people can't go about losing money year after, like every event they do. Right? It can't. And something that worries me is that people would look at UK Fruit Fest and think, oh, the reason that this is successful is because it's a raw foods event, or because those people went, or because those speakers went. And then someone will go, well, if I take those speakers and I do it in my country, then I'll emulate that. No, you won't, because it's nothing to do with those speakers, and it's nothing to do with raw foods, and it's not like, it's to do with some of the things that I do to promote the event, to make it happen. Like, that's what makes the event happen. So, quite simple. But is it something that I can continue the rest of my life with? Well, it would be nice to be, but it comes down to me for, can I create the community that justifies the event happening? That's the only way to sustain these events. You need to build the community. So build community. If you've got a bigger vision than just your local potluck, by the way, I think that's still an amazing vision, then, you want to build a community where you're sort of teaching the people and all that stuff. And I don't even know if raw foods is the way to do that. It might be that you reversed your arthritis, or you lost weight, or you got, and those things are better things probably to build a community around, quite frankly. So anyway, thank you for this video, and it is a clear instruction. If you're considering doing one of these events, don't. I mean, in some ways there's a greatness to it. There's a great thing, but I don't think, I wouldn't personally create a program where I'm teaching people how to do this. I just don't think it's the best way. It's It's not the first thing to start with. If you came to me and you said, I've got this fantastic community of people, tons of us, we're all excited, we're all interested, and we want to get together, then yeah, then for sure. But until then, and I'm talking, you need to have tens of thousands of people. Like, have tens of thousands in your community, in your network. And if you had 10,000 in a Facebook group, you couldn't fill UK Fruit Fest. If you had 10,000 Instagram followers, you couldn't fill a festival from that. You pretty much couldn't. It's not enough. 10,000 people paying you, that's different. But 10,000 people just following you, that's nothing. 10,000 people paying you something. Now we've got a mega festival. We've got a mega festival happening. So anyway, thank you very much, everyone. I love the festivals. They're one of my favourite things in the world. And in a sense, it would be great for me to go, yeah, you go and do one and I'll just come and hang out. I'd love it. But I don't think it's the most productive thing for us to be doing, to put our energies towards. So thank you very much.